So I want to share something with you that I learned today, helping a client get over their lower back problem, or at least move them in a direction so that they are minimizing their lower back pain. Because this person, she's really afraid of having her back get thrown out, because it was so bad for her that she couldn't walk. And I've been through that pain before, and one of the things to help someone with back pain is to strengthen their core, which is a completely arbitrary and very vague statement. It really doesn't help anybody sometimes, especially as a trainer. Strengthen their core. Does that mean doing crunches and planks? Yes, it does. But for someone who has a problem that keeps recurring, it's a little more complicated than that. I'm going to help try to simplify some of those complicated issues. Now, when it comes to having lower back problems, especially with this particular case, the problem is not as having a noisy spine. That is one of the biggest problems. The spine moves too much. So I'm going to pick up this weight off the ground. This is a kettlebell, and I'm squatting down to pick it up. And one of the problems I was seeing with her lower back is she was squatting down, and when she came up, she was like moving like a stripper. And what that means is that she would shoot her hips up, and then her hips would move around. And her lower back and spine, the sort of the stripper squat, and then what that is that their butt, I can't even move like that. But the point is that when they pick the object up, whatever it is, and they try to lift, they use their spine moves. They go into extension. And what extension simply is this back extending. And what that means is their stomach, their lower back is too noisy, and that noisiness needs to be eliminated. So the way you're going to teach that is one way, is they need to lean more forward into their squat or deadlift, whatever you want to call it, whatever they're doing. I had to pick up like a 20-pound ball. This is a 36-pound kettlebell. It's for them to lean forward and then squat down. As they squat down, they need to kind of keep this brace so they're tight as they can. Now, as they pick up the weight, they need to focus on staying tight, 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 tight. And as she picked up the weight, what she would do is she would come up, extend first at the hip, at the lower back, and then come on it coming up. And that's a problem because she's loading her spine and shearing through it. And that's causing a lot of extension load in the low back, causing a lot of shearing in the spine, and then eventually causing a problem over time when she does a lot of stuff throughout the day. So the correct way and the proper way to do this to minimize risk of injury, especially when you have a pre-existing problem, is that you have to learn how to deadlift correctly or pick something off the ground correctly. And what that simply is when he or she or whatever person you're trying to coach pick up the weight, they need to be able to keep their stomach tight and then move the weight off the ground without moving the spine. But if I were to pick it up and lean forward more, even if I shot my hips up, my spine is braced and my lower back is prioritized. It's not ideal, but it's prioritized. It means that I'm not trying to do an extension load in the low back. I'm not trying to do a hyperextension in the back. What I'm doing is I'm using my core and my stomach to keep my midsection solid. And what I'm coaching is I'm seeing her come down, or seeing the individual come down to grab the weight, stay super tight, and as they come up, they need to brace their stomach super tight, push their knees out, and then lift their body up by pushing their knees out and squeezing their butt forward into a deadlift. Now, in a way, we are coaching a deadlift, but one of the things to look at, whether it be a squat or a deadlift, this is kind of like a sumo deadlift, is that you're trying to get them to not move their spine under load. Because a lot of the time, someone reaches for the kettlebell or weight on the ground, their lower back rounds like this. And what you want to do is you want to prevent that. You want them to prioritize their lower back, keep everything tight, come down, whatever they're going to get, pick up the weight, brace the abs, and then squeeze extra hard as they squeeze their knees out to pull their hips up and forward and through. And that's going to only happen if you're able to watch their lower back and spine not move. So you want to help coach two things. One, having them screw their feet into the ground, push your knees out, and then two, brace their stomach, and then initiate the movement through the hips and the feet, and drive through the heels while keeping this prioritized. This should not move. It will move because it's on the hips, like the hips and glutes are on there, that the torso will move around, but the torso will move independently. It's going to move with the hips. It's not going to extend and then the hips will move. That's one of the biggest problems with people who deadlift incorrectly or deadlift with bad form that may hurt their back on occasion, is that when they come down to pick an object off the ground, they'll have an extension load, hyperextend the back, and then pull their hips through. What they should be doing is bracing the stomach, pushing their hips through, and then having their body function as an entire unit. And again, this takes a lot of coaching. This is something I just wanted to share. Hopefully it's something you can help other people with if you're a personal trainer or coach. And I thought this was pretty cool to teach. It just happened today. If you like this and you like some of my content, please click like, make a comment. If you have any questions, I got more ideas that are be coming down the pipeline, but this is kind of just like an off, I guess it's the same topic, but I got a lot of stuff that just kind of comes off randomly. And if this is what you think will help someone squat better, share the video. Anyways, thanks for watching.